Candice.
And I'm Matteo, the Chief Mobile Opinionist here at Tech Travel Geeks.
And after nearly 3 years, we are back in the USA doing a road trip in California.
Follow our adventures on the Tech Travel Geeks YouTube channel, where we'll be exploring the coastline between Los Angeles and Humboldt County,
Where we will be exploring eateries,
wineries,
breweries,
national parks, a little bit of horse riding, and catching up with our friends. Okay then, so we're a few days late, but let's start the vlogs of our California road trip. Today is Sunday and we're just going to go do a quick recap of what's happened since we landed in LA on Wednesday. What happened, Candice?
On Wednesday, we drove up to Thousand Oaks, just north of Los Angeles, for jet lag sleep.
Yeah, jet lag sleep. We were in a Motel 6, which is not the greatest of hotels, but suited our needs and was across the road from a Walmart, where we went for our usual water and jet lag snacks. So we just went to sleep when we got to back to the hotel, and woke up relatively early on Thursday and started our drive up north. So the great thing is we're driving between LA and San Francisco, and it's a nice long drive. There's lots of different routes you can take to do that. And we went with the coastal route with the 101. But our first stop was in Santa Barbara, wasn't it?
So we stopped in Santa Barbara fairly early in the morning. Nice walk along the beach with all the palm trees. It was cold but sunny.
So we stopped in Santa Barbara for a walk on the beach. We then proceeded to get back on the road, and it took us through a nice little section of mountain road to take us back to the 101. Now, it's not easy driving, but great fun to go over that road. And so we drove over the San Marcos Pass Road, which takes you through the hills above Santa Barbara all the way back onto the 101. Now, technically it is less miles, but there's a lot more up and downhill. It all works out as the same, but you get some spectacular views along the way, and it's a much more interesting drive.
Then we were back on the 101 and we stopped in Pismo Beach for some retail therapy.
Yep, and what did you get?
I got a pair of cargo pants, as they're called in America, and a lovely denim midi skirt.
So if you're on that part of the California coast and you're looking for a bit of retail therapy, the Pismo Beach Mall, or the Pismo Beach, is it Outlet Mall is a good place to stop by. I got a denim jacket, which is what I was needing for this Californian weather, which is unusually chilly and also slightly damp.
Still warmer than Scotland.
Yeah, definitely warmer and drier than Scotland, but it has been unusually rainy here. Throughout our drive there's been a few spells of actual rain, and there was also quite a lot of water on our way to Monterey. So we stopped off just off the Monterey Peninsula in Carmel by the Sea. And where did we stop, Candice?
We had dinner in the Hog's Breath Inn, famously owned in the past by Clint Eastwood. Still a delicious place to stop for dinner. Beautiful outdoor fires, nice lighting, and we had some really good dinner, didn't we?
Yeah. What did you have?
I had a roasted beet salad with added salmon.
Yeah, and we shared an appetizer or a starter of
calamari.
Yes, they were very, very good calamari. I say that as a calamari enthusiast. These had perfect sort of coating and seasoning and were very, very tasty. So great calamari. And they formed a sort of weird surf and turf because I was also having the Dirty Harry's steak, which was very, very tasty and came with a nice accompaniment of vegetables and mustard mash. So all in all, the Hog's Breath Inn in Carmel by the Sea is a really good recommendation. This came to us from someone else who's been there in the past, speaking to you, Janie, and we would recommend it to you as well. So check out that place if you can. And then we went to catch the sunset just a little bit further down the coast on Highway 1, and we went to just the northern border of Big Sur to Bixby Bridge. Now, some of you may hear the word Bixby and say, oh no, it's Samsung's digital assistant. And this beautiful monument to Samsung's digital assistant. No, it's not a monument to Samsung's digital assistant. It was a bridge on Highway 1 built in the 1930s, which is still standing today somehow. It really is quite an interesting bridge in the way it's constructed and the place it's constructed. It's on a creek that goes straight into the Pacific Ocean, and it spans two areas of very friable, very essentially very crumbly sandstone. So it's amazing the bridge is still there. It's been well built, and it is spectacular. Anyway, after sunset there, we moved on and went back up the coast to where we were staying that night, which was the Sand Dollar Inn in Seaside, California. It's just past the Monterey Peninsula. It was not a good experience, no. I made the mistake of trying out my shiny torch that we've reviewed here on the Tech Travel Geeks YouTube channel, which has a black light, and we did not sleep as a result of that. So don't go there.
And don't bring a backlight to a motel.
Yeah, fair point.
Oh.
So once we'd done that, we woke up on Friday morning and took our time driving up the coast to Cupertino. And driving up to Cupertino, we stopped just after Santa Cruz in the Santa Cruz Redwoods for a bit of a hike. And how long did we hike for?
We hiked in the Redwoods for nearly 4.5 hours. There was some beautiful trails, all different abilities and difficulties, which are laid out at the beginning, so you can choose your route to what you want to do that day, how challenging you want to take it. We took our time and we did the yellow route, stopped at a couple of observation benches, observation decks, and really enjoyed ourselves.
So it was a bit messy because we were accidentally stepped into some mud, quicksand muds up the hill, and it was really interesting because we got really dirty, but we then realised that there was sand all the way to the top of the mountain. And it turns out that this is old seabed that is now the top of a mountain. And that's why it was so sandy, there's lots of sand just essentially coming down the mountain every time it rains. And we had just happened to be there after it had been raining. But the walk through the Redwoods was spectacular. When we got to the top, we were in an area where there had been some forest fires recently, so there wasn't as much vegetation, there weren't as many trees, but still it made for amazing views. And I really, really enjoyed that walk. It was a good 4.5 hours in the outdoors. We got a bit sunburnt, as you can probably notice from our faces. So a good
Your
trip.
face.
Yeah, as you can see from my face, and so good overall hike. And then we headed up to Cupertino.
We stayed in the Aloft in Cupertino. It's a Marriott Bonvoy hotel, which was amazingly comfortable after our not so great night the previous evening. And we really enjoyed that hotel.
Yeah, so we spent Saturday with my family, and then went back to the hotel, got ourselves ready because there was an early start on Sunday. By the way, Sunday is actually today.
Today we got up early because we were making our way up to Glen Ellen in Sonoma, specifically going to the Jack London Estate Historic Park so that we could go horse riding at our favourite horse riding place in America, Triple Creek. Matteo has his favourite horse, Annie. I had the gorgeous Sunny today, and we spent nearly 2 hours riding around the estate, up the mountain, looking over the vineyards, and being entertained by Dominic, our guide and owner of Triple Creek.
Great time horse riding in the Jack London Historic State Park. We are staying in the Jack London Lodge here in Glen Ellen. It is a lovely, lovely place. Really comfy beds, big marshmallow beds. We love this place. It's not the first time we've been here, and definitely a recommendation from us. It's not just a nice hotel, it has an attached Jack London saloon where we've just been and had a few beers. Great to be able to catch up with locals as well as just enjoy the beer. Obviously we're in Sonoma. This is known as wine country, but also very well known for the excellent craft beers, the good food, and wine, obviously. So great place to stay, and we'll be here tomorrow.
We have been wine tasting today.
Oh yes, I almost forgot about that.
Yep.
Must be the beer.
Yep. So we went wine tasting today at VJB Cellars in Glen Ellen. It was our first time at this particular winery, came recommended from Dominic at Triple Creek. We tasted 6 of their wines, and we had an amazing wood-fired pizza each.
What did you have?
Yeah, my pizza had gorgonzola and salmon on it with red onions. Sounds a little unusual, but it was absolutely delicious on a sourdough pizza crust. What did you have, Matteo?
I had the same sourdough base, which is the standard there, a very Neapolitan base pizza. And my one was 4 cheeses plus bacon. It was it Margarita? No, not Margarita. It
Natalia?
was Natalia's pizza. Natalia being one of the daughters of the family who own the VJB Cellars place. Very tasty stuff. Funnily enough, Natalia also has a wine named after her, which we tasted, but ultimately we ended up choosing a different wine from our tasting menu. Which one did we go for?
Did we go for the Sangiovese?
It wasn't just the Sangiovese, it was the Sangiovese Reserva, which is a very, very flavorful, punchy Sangiovese. It's very similar, if you're a wine fanatic or a fine wine enthusiast, very similar to a Brunello di Montalcino. So very fruity, very full-bodied, with very little acidity or tannin in it. Very enjoyable wine. And so we have that here. It will probably be cracked open when we're editing this video, or kept to take back to Scotland. We haven't decided yet. We'll see how the evening goes. So, plans for tomorrow are to be in, again, at the Jack London Lodge. We'll probably do a dedicated one about our foot hiking around the Jack London estate and some highlights. So keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you're subscribed to the Tech Travel Geeks here on YouTube. Have that notification bell turned on so that you know when we do publish a video. And for now, thanks for watching if you made it this far into this video, and goodbye from us.